Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, welcome. I look a little off. Something looks wrong. Don't worry, I know. It's my under eyes, and that's what we're talking about in today's video. We're talking all about under eyes, dark circles, how to prevent creasing, how to make them look smooth and hydrated and brightened. It's one of the #1 questions I get. So if you want to see what I do to take care of them, then just keep on watching. Oh, I'll get this out of the way too. My lips are a premixed color. It's a 2-to-1 ratio. So I did 2 She's apples to 1 blue red. Premixed them in little tattoo rings that I like to use. I'll link them down below. And then used a disposable applicator to apply it, and then topped it with Glossy Gloss. The gloss is like soaked in, and so it's kind of got like that semi-matte finish. But that's what I did today, and I'm loving it. It's great for spring and summer. And I have quite a few She's apples left, and so if you want to grab some, you can shoot me an email or shop through the link below. Okay, let's get started. I suffer, no, I'm just kidding. It's really, it's not that big of a deal, but a lot of women, especially you moms or you hardworking boss babes out there, have issues with under eye circles, especially when we don't get much sleep, when we're busy, when we're stressed. Allergies can cause it to flare up. So today I'm going to show you what I do to really take care of underneath my eyes. First of all, the key to making your under eye makeup or your concealer, your highlighter, all that jazz look good is you have to have good skincare. Even under your eyes. Your under eye area is the thinnest skin, and you have to take care of it. So what I like to do, I do have some pretty dark circles, and I use our dark circle eye treatment. This stuff is so good. I wish I had a better before and after picture. I'll try and see if I can dig one up. But this stuff is incredible. I'll pull out my beauty book so I can tell you properly. This dark circle eye treatment retails for $50. It has Suma root extract, Potency wood extract, and Madonna lily flower extract. So all of these work in combination to reduce the dark circles under your eyes and also to help tighten any loose skin. So it helps with under eye puffiness, dark circles, and like any bags. Basically, it goes in like a little Pac-Man and eats up all of the dried blood cells that have pooled underneath your eyes and helps totally get rid of them. I realize that mine still are there, obviously, but this product has made a world of difference for my under eyes. You do have to use about a full bottle before you start to notice a difference, so don't expect it to be a night and day results, but once you start using it, you will never want to go back. Also, what's really cool is you can see in this tube, it's an airless pump, so you're literally getting every single last drop of this guy, which is good because that's your hard-earned money that you're spending on this, so you want to use all of it. Okay, so dark circle eye treatment. I put this on morning and night. You need I do like a quarter of a pump, if even that, just the tiniest dot on my finger. Actually, I really should be using my ring fingers. We'll do that. I do use my ring fingers normally. So tiniest dot on my ring fingers, and then just pat it all underneath my eyes. Be super, super careful. That skin is so sensitive. You don't want to pull and drag. So just patting motions all underneath your eyes. You want to do this very first because it's a treatment. You want it to be the very first thing that touches your skin after a cleansed and dried face. Obviously, I already have my makeup on because I wanted to show you how to apply it, but normally I would do this in my skincare routine immediately after washing my face. Next up in my under eye regimen is this guy. This is one of the few products that I don't think, well, okay, that's a lie. I don't think I could live without any of our products, but this is like in my top 5 of all Synergence products. Our eye cream is so, so amazing. I've always struggled with having under eyes that they crease really easily with concealer, but they look dry and crepey when I set them with a powder. And since I've been using this, which has been about 2 years now, my under eyes have literally never looked better. The eye cream is a rich blend of oils and vitamins that is going to help reduce the fine lines and wrinkles underneath your eyes and also really helps to hydrate your eyes. This stuff is like the viscosity, it's super thick, but it melts and emulsifies at your skin's temperature and it gives like a silk feeling or coating. It has multiple different size molecules in it, so the tiny molecules penetrate deep into your skin to really hydrate and renew from the bottom up, and then the thicker molecule or the larger molecules sit on top of your skin to really help reduce drag. So it's super important to use this morning and night. Nighttime, you're gonna get the amazing skincare benefits from it. Morning, you're gonna get the skincare benefits as well as the protection from when you apply your makeup. It really helps to apply makeup super smoothly and super evenly because it gives a nice smooth surface to apply your makeup on top of. So our eye cream, eye cream has soybean oil in it to help improve skin's hydration and smoothness. It has cuckoo seed oil, which helps to soothe the skin, especially for that sensitive under eye area. And it has vitamin A in it, which is going to help increase the skin's elasticity. So to apply this, I just use my finger and rub it in there, and it starts to melt on your skin. And then just tap it in underneath my eyes. I do this under my eyes, and then at nighttime, I put it on my lids as well. I don't put it on my lids in the morning because it can kind of cause creasing if I do my eye makeup on top of it too quickly. Like, you can literally feel it just like coating underneath your eyes, but it's not thick or greasy. It's just super silky and smooth. And this eye cream runs for $50 as well, so it's a great price point. It's gonna last you probably like 6 to 8 months, if not more. So these two products are like the holy grails for under eye skincare. Now we're gonna talk about covering up, because as amazing as skincare is, I need a little bit more help in the covering department. So we are going to jump into makeup. And I'm going to show you some of my very favorite products to use for underneath my eyes. Okay, first up is Candlelight. Now, Candlelight is a shadow. It's a cream to powder shadow sense. It has a salmon undertone. It's very light, but it does have a slight salmon kind of orangey undertone, which is great for balancing out and counteracting dark circles. Now, Candlelight is great for those starting out or for those that wear very minimal makeup. I use Candlelight when I'm headed to the gym and my dark circles are really, really dark and noticeable, or if I'm out grocery shopping, or if it's a more minimal makeup day, I will throw on Candlelight. The great thing about it is it blends really well, really nice and evenly, and it doesn't crease, so you don't have the issues of the under eye creasing, which is so, so good. So I absolutely love Candlelight, and I recommend it to everyone starting out. If you want to go a little bit more intense and you're wearing more makeup, you're going to have more product on your face, and you really, really, really want to counteract those dark circles, then I recommend either Cotta BlushSense, this is the old bottle, but Cotta BlushSense, or for me, medium concealer works really well. If you have a darker skin tone than I do, medium might not be the best for you, but both of these products have more of an orange undertone, so they are going to balance out and color correct the blue. Because if you think about a color wheel, I don't have one, but blue and orange are across from each other on the color wheel, so they are going to cancel each other out. So when you're doing your makeup and you're working on the color correcting, to color correct those dark blue circles, you want something that has an orange or a peachy undertone to it. So recap real quick, Candlelight on more of like my minimal makeup days, just quick and easy, just throw it on. And if I'm going all out, if I'm doing a full face of makeup, I actually usually go for Cotta BlushSense. It's intense, it's dark, it's pigmented, but it does the job. Okay, so then you look like a crazy person, right? With this underneath your eyes. Then we go on top of it and we're going to conceal and highlight. So I'm going to show you how I do this. I'm going to do Candlelight on one side and Cotta BlushSense on the other, so you can see the difference and how it all works. Candlelight, also, it can be a little dark for me if I don't have a tan. I wear 2 shades, cream beige foundation, or I wear dewy. When I'm dewy, I can wear Candlelight. So if you are the shade dewy or darker, Candlelight would be fine for you. If you are cream beige or lighter, Candlelight might be a little too dark for you to do the whole like under eye brightening highlighting. It'll work for the color correcting, but it's not going to work for the whole shebang. So Candlelight I like to just put it right over top of the dark circles, and you'll see how quickly it works to counteract. The great thing, like I mentioned, the good thing about Candlelight is because it's so light, it does the job of color correcting as well as highlighting and brightening underneath your eyes. It's just simple. Simple, easy, quick to throw on. It's not as extra though. It's not as full coverage. It's not as all out. So you can see the difference. Candlelight, nothing. Really opens up and brightens my eyes. Okay, now I'm gonna do some Terracotta BlushSense on this eye. With this, I always like to use a brush, and the tiniest amount goes such a long way. So I just barely squeeze it up. You can see like a little ball of color pop out. And I use, this brush is the 3D HD Precision brush from Sigma. Just tap a little bit on the edge. And then I only want to touch where I have dark blue circles. Because remember, we're counteracting, we're balancing out the blue. Crazy person, right? Okay, I'm gonna break all makeup rules right here. I'm actually gonna set this first with a powder to keep it from creasing, and then I'm going to layer another cream on top of it. I know, it's wild, it's breaking all the rules you've ever heard of, but this keeps it from creasing. If I do Terracotta BlushSense and then I go over top of it with a cream concealer, it's too much cream and it can crease, especially because I put that super hydrating eye cream underneath there, which we need. We need hydration to keep your under eyes from looking crepey. So we're gonna layer just a tiny, tiny bit of powder over top of it. So I like to use our natural powder. I am almost out of mine. But instead of using this big old fluffy brush, because I don't want to put it everywhere, I only want to put it on top of where I put the terracotta, I'm going to unscrew the lid. And you can dump this out into a bottle or a container, but I've got enough product on that little sponge that I'm just going to dip. Let's see, where is it? I'm going to dip my powder brush. This is a F35 from Sigma, and I like it because it's tapered, so it fits really nicely right there underneath the eyes. I'm going to dip it into the sponge, get a little bit of product on there, and then just lightly tap it on. So I don't have a ton of powder on there. I'm not baking it. I'm not really setting it in place a whole lot. I'm just lightly adding to keep it from moving. Now I normally let that sit for like, I don't know, a minute or so, let it set in place while I'm doing something else on my face. Kind of got my routine down with what I do next. And I do, when I do candlelight just underneath my eyes, I do like to set it with a powder as well. So we're just going in with a little bit of that extra. Okay, now I'm gonna go over top of the Terracotta BlushSense. We color corrected, this is the color correcting now. So when I go on top of it, I'm going to go on top of it with a brightening concealer. You don't want to use the same shade as what you'd put on your face to cover blemishes because we like our under eyes to be a little bit brighter. It draws the light to your eyes. It really helps to open up your eyes. So you want a brightening concealer or a highlighter. It's kind of a highlight and conceal type thing. What I like to do is I just mix our light concealer with white concealer. Again, if you are shades darker than dewy, then light concealer would work fine. Even medium concealer if you wear like the truffle foundation shade or a deep caramel or cinnamon, like those deeper shades, medium concealer would work well for you. But for me and my skin tone, I actually have to mix the light and the white concealer together to get it light enough. Another thing that I do is I actually do not apply foundation underneath my eyes. That's a huge no-no for me. It gets too much product under there that I don't need. I get great coverage and I get the look that I want with just the color corrector and the concealer slash highlighter. So no foundation. Try that if you have issues with it creasing or balling up under there or settling in those fine lines. Try not putting foundation there. You're just going to do your corrector and your concealer. Okay, so I have already actually pre-mixed my concealer. I always ended up mixing way too much and wasting it, so I mixed a bunch ahead of time and put it in one of these little containers. I'll link them in the description bar if you want to grab some for yourself. But I have already mixed mine. So this is light and white concealer, and I'm going to use this concealer brush. It's an F75 from Sigma. I'm dipping it in and applying it. Okay, so I just put it in a triangle shape, and I try to avoid right underneath my lash line because I don't want too much product buildup there. So I put it in that triangle shape, and then I'm going to take a fluffy concealer brush. This is the F64, and I'm going to blend that out and push product up into my lash line. So that's when I bring it all the way up to blend it, but I want the focus, most of the product, to be right in this area, and then we're blending it out in that triangle shape. Alrighty, lastly, I'm going back to my natural powder with my F75 tapered highlight brush and just barely tapping that on to set it. Now, I don't have issues with my under eye creasing when I do it this way. If you do, if you have major issues with under eye creasing, you could bake it in there as well. I'll show you how to bake in just a second, but take a look at this. Tell me which one you guys like better. This is the Candlelight, and this is the Terra Cotta and the light and white concealer. It's a lot. I know it's a lot of product, but I think it looks better. I think it looks more awake. It looks brighter. This is great for everyday wear. Don't get me wrong. This is what I use when I go to the gym or when I go to the grocery store, when I don't wear a lot of makeup. This is what I'll just slap on. But if I am going to do my makeup, I like to do the whole shebang. It really is quick, and it makes a huge difference in your face. You look more awake, you look brighter, you look more alive. It just opens up your eyes. It makes you look so much more awake. Okay, so baking. We're gonna add another extra step. So baking is when you take a lot of loose powder and pack it all over the area that you want to apply it. It's gonna help reduce creasing. It also kind of helps sharpen up any contour lines if you bake on your face. It just sets everything in place and keeps it from moving, and it just sharpens it all up and gives it kind of like an airbrushed finish. So I'm gonna show you how I bake. So our natural powder, I have dumped some into a container like this for the purpose of baking. Normally I just apply it from the tube like this when I'm setting all over my face, but to bake, I like to grab it from here. It just has made it a whole lot easier for me. And what you're gonna want is a sponge. Let me grab. Now this can be wet or dry. I prefer it dry just because I don't have the time to get up and go to the bathroom and wet it. But this is the Beauty Blender sponge dry. You can also use L'Oreal also has this really great pointed sponge. You can see it's well loved. But you want to find a sponge that has a point, because that's going to go right up underneath your eyes. I've tried baking with so many different powders. I've found a couple of my favorites. I will show them to you now. Okay, so with baking, there's two powders that I like to use for underneath my eyes baking, and it all just depends on what color my skin is at the time. So our natural powder from Senegence, it comes in this little tube like this. It is so great because it's extremely, extremely hydrating, but it does have a slight color to it. So if you are a cream beige or lighter shade, it can be a little too dark for you, and there is something you can do to combat that, and that is by doing your under eye highlighting even brighter than you normally would, because then when you apply this on top of it, it kind of tones it down. It's super great because it is very hydrating, it's very silky, it's very soft. It is my favorite powder for underneath my eyes, but if I don't have a tan, I have a really hard time using it. So my next favorite powder for underneath the eyes to bake with is this. This is the Laura Mercier Loose Translucent Setting Powder, and it is really great. It's really brightening. It's great for the under eyes. It doesn't have color. It's got a, well, actually I lied. It's got like a slight yellow tint to it, which is really great for brightening. I like it. It's not as hydrating as the Senegence powder, but for me, it does work better for my coloring. So you just kind of have to decide based on your coloring, which is gonna work better. So I've dumped some natural powder into this container. This I just got off Amazon, I'll link them down below, for the purpose of baking. Because when you're baking, you wanna go in with your dry sponge and get a lot of product onto the container, and it's just easier for me to get it from here than it is from the tiny little tube that it comes in. So I'm dipping into here, lots of product on my dry sponge, and I'm going to press that underneath my eyes. And you can see it does give off like a slight color. So again, if you are lighter skin toned than I am, then make sure to do your concealer brighter than you normally would, because this will tone it down. So you just apply a ton, you really press it in, especially right there in that inner corner where you have a lot of product buildup. And you're gonna let it sit. So I usually let it sit while I do some more on my face. I've got my little routine down, and then I'm going to take a powder brush. This is the F35, and just buff it away. Now you can see it did darken up my highlight, but it still opens up my eyes and still brightens it. You can I don't know if you can tell as well on camera, but in person, you can see the shadow of my eye so much more on this eye than you can on this eye, and that's because we just did candlelight on this eye and then baked it. So candlelight and then set it completely in place, whereas this one, we used the Terra Cotta BlushSense to counteract the dark shadowing, the dark circles. Hopefully you guys can tell that on camera. Let me know in the comments below what you guys do, what your current under eye routine is, and then if this video helped you. I really hope it did. I get a ton of questions on it, so I tried to break it down. I know it can be kind of confusing because there's a bunch of different options, but those two are my go-to. Candlelight for just a basic, everyday, easy, quick, throw it on, rub it in and go. Or if you are gonna spend a little more time on your makeup, then the Terra Cotta BlushSense with the concealer is the route to go. For me personally, I like it the very best. So I hope you guys do too. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one.